Okay, got it. Okay, so we're going to talk about all the aspects of healthy living because it's really not just one thing. It's the combination of things that together will make your body and your brain more healthy. And we've got to do it all together. We really just can't do one piece of it. And we're going to talk about all the pieces and then of course, how we put them together. And maybe I'll ask what you do now, or maybe I'll ask what you plan to do if you need to change some part of your life for healthy, to be, better and healthy living. So, next slide. So today or tonight, we are going to identify the reasons for taking care of yourself as you age. And I think and hope everyone has some idea of why it's so important. Number one, we want to live longer, live better. And, doing all the things that we're going to learn will help you to do that. You want to, loved ones you want to see, maybe loved ones you have to take care of, but there's lots of reasons that, and because we want to live longer, live better. To do that, we will be talking about physical health and exercise, and we'll talk about that, diet and nutrition, cognitive activity, that is, how we exercise our brain, and that's important, and social engagement. Social engagement is how and when and how often we interact with other people. It really is important to have that interaction. I think everyone saw with the pandemic, it became very difficult to do that. And, it has its, it really has its downfalls. And, now we hope we won't get back into that lack of social engagement when, people seem to be sticking close to home. And so we'll talk about all that. So, and what I want you to do is to make your own plan for healthy aging. And I'll talk about that as we go through each section. So, aging and health. Aging depends on several things. It depends on your genes. And we have genes, we have good genes and not so good genes. We have risk genes and deterministic genes. And one will say, maybe you have a chance, but not necessarily. And the other one, deterministic, says, well, hate to tell you this, but you stand a strong likelihood of developing, dementia and Alzheimer's. So, we know that, but we should be doing all the healthy things anyway. So lifestyle choices really do help keep your body and your brain healthy. So as we go through, I want you to think of what you do now and then what we can do to improve it. So next. So let's talk about the brain. The brain is the control center of the body, and there are 100 billion nerve cells. That's a lot of nerve cells, or neurons that create this branching network. And in that network, signals travel through the brain. They form memories, thoughts, and feelings. And what Alzheimer's does is destroy those brain cells. So if you look at this picture to the left, you can see kind of a little bit of the lighter color, branching through the brain. And, as long as it's clear, our brain can function pretty good. But signals, I always think of it like a train tracks. You have these neurons and they're going over the train tracks. And if something happened, like something broke off or they're not going in the right direction, you're not going to get, the train isn't going to get to where it wants to. So, if you think of it like that, something happens to break the nerve cells or to break the branching. And whatever it was that was supposed to happen won't happen. And so, we really want to keep those branching networks open and clear so that, if we're thinking about washing our hands, takes a little movement, then it'll happen. Or we're thinking about making a salad, going to another area, we can do that as long as your branching networks are working. But if they're not, instead of a salad, you could be mopping the floor. All right, let's move to the next slide. And again, we're going to talk about that heart-brain connection. You can see again in your picture, kind of like a solid star-looking thing, and then you've got branches going away from them in all different directions. And the heart and the brain are very, very connected. We always say what happens to the heart affects the brain. And the brain needs blood, just like every other part of our body. And so if something happens to clog the vessels that bring blood to the brain, not only does your heart have a problem, but your brain could have a problem as well. So, real important to, to know that and to do what we can. The brain needs oxygen, so when we take those deep breaths, the air with oxygen goes into all parts of your body, through your lung, and one part of it goes up to your brain. And in fact, 25% of blood from every heartbeat goes to the brain. So think about it, one part of the body, and an important part of the body, and 25% of every heartbeat goes there. So when you think about the heart and it's beating and it just does it, we don't say, okay, beat now. Nope, it just does it automatically if we're sleeping, if we're awake. And by doing that, we've got a blood flow to the brain that has blood and oxygen in it. And that is what is so important for the brain. So that's why we say what affects the heart affects the brain, and vice versa. Okay, so let's talk about Alzheimer's and dementia. Those are two different things that we often just bundle together, but it's really two different diseases. Dementia is caused by many different diseases and conditions, and it's not part of normal aging. I actually get very upset when I hear a person say, oh, my doctor said it's part of normal aging. No, it is not. So know that. Now, Alzheimer's is one of the diseases that has dementia as one of its symptoms. So dementia is a symptom. Alzheimer's is a disease that has that symptom. So if the dementia umbrella, where you have your cognitive involvement and don't remember and all the things that goes with cognitive impairment, that is a symptom. Underneath that are different diseases that all exhibit dementia. And again, Alzheimer's is the most common. Some risks for Alzheimer's and dementia. It includes age, genetics, head injury, cardiovascular factors, and fewer years of formal education. So if we take a look at some of that, for the most part, age, people do get it as you get older. Not necessarily 100%, but on the average, they are older. What is different is those that have early onset. They're usually in their 40s or their 50s. And it's not as common. And so, it does happen, but it's not the more common. Head injury. I think there are many studies that show that football players that have had head injuries over their career stand a stronger incidence of having dementia and Alzheimer's. Well, cardiovascular factors, we now know why. There's a disruption of blood and oxygen flowing to the brain, which is why it's so important to take care of your heart and, if you need to, make sure you see that cardiologist and, take care of yourself, take care of your heart. And fewer years of formal education, there's a lot of factors involved there. Some of it is, not understanding what this dementia and Alzheimer's is. And, some of it is, that just don't understand the importance, let's say, of healthy living or, exercise. And, more and more they're finding that, it's a common risk factor for people that, if you're not as educated as others, you may not understand, you may not practice, what we're learning to do. Now, therapies for Alzheimer's can treat symptoms for a time. Key phrase there. Symptoms for a time, but they cannot cure, they cannot prevent, and they cannot slow disease progression. So that's very important. Yes, there are some medications out there that are designed to treat the symptoms, right? But that doesn't cure it. And, a lot of people, really need to understand that is they're working on it. We'll talk a little bit towards the end. Lots and lots of research going on. New medications almost out on the market. But right this minute, there are no medications that can cure this awful disease. Next, please. So there are really 4 factors that we're going to look at for taking care of yourself as you age. They are cognitive activity, physical health and exercise, diet and nutrition, and social engagement. Now, I want you to think a minute before we start this part, think about what do you do right now for cognitive activity or for exercise? Then we're going to think, well, maybe I could do more. So what am I going to start to do for the next month, the next 3 months, the next 6 months? You want to increase in all of these what you do to, make sure that you are practicing healthy living. So it'll be cognitive activity, it'll be one area, physical health and exercise, diet and nutrition, and social engagement. So we're going to take a look at these 4 areas. So for physical health and exercise, well, let's talk about what we know. We have cardiovascular activity, and we know that it may reduce your risk of cognitive decline. Right? We've been talking about that connection between the heart and the brain, and what affects one affects both. So we know that. We do know that regular and vigorous exercise leads to increased blood flow. So when you take that walk, and you're walking at the pace that's good for you, but when you do that walk, you are getting your blood flow to move. That's a great thing. And that blood has that oxygen, and you are increasing that to the brain. Other physical activities may also yield some benefits, but do what you like. If you're doing other things besides walking, anybody do other things besides walking? You can shout it out.
I do Pilates. This is Anne.
Okay. Yes, Anne.
Andy.
Good.
Yeah, I
Good
do.
for you.
I do Pilates 2 times a week, and also ride my bike. Those are mine.
Ah, fantastic. Anybody else?
I have a rowing machine. I use that.
Okay, that's good. Anybody else?
Liz, I love the rower. I second that.
Yep.
That's really good exercise too.
Biking and hiking here.
Yeah, okay. Good for you all. You're doing good. The rest of you have to catch up. All right. So in your little chart that you're going to make when we talk about exercise, right now, not much. All right. Maybe in a couple of weeks from now, I want to walk around the block or walk 2 miles, or, just increase it slowly. And in a month and 6 months, how you want to improve that. And so that's one of the things that you can do. And I think that one of the handouts that you'll get has that. So you increase that cardiovascular activity. And, there's no one thing that's right. Number one, you need to do what you like, because if you don't like it, you're not going to do it. So do what you like. And pretty much you'll continue to do that. Try to walk with a friend. That's no fun to walk by yourself. I mean, unless you got some, good music.
It's surprising
Oh,
how
Wooly,
you
here
can
he
easily
is.
build up habits of just taking 15 to 20 minutes out of your day to go down, hit the treadmill, and just do it. Just do it. Just get on it, put my headphones on, and just walk at a nice brisk pace for myself, build up a quick heartbeat, quick sweat, and it's amazing how quickly I can go from 15 minutes to 20 minutes, and then over time 30 minutes, and over time 40 minutes. Before you know it, you're up to 45 minutes of walking, and even at a higher incline and also at a higher pace. And again, it's all about incorporating habits in the choices that we make.
So true. It's good. Like you said, start slow. If you don't do it, well, start slow and keep increasing. And before that, you won't even notice that you've increased it. So what can we do? Again, as I said, do something you like. If you don't like it, you're not going to keep with it. Start out small. Don't go running a marathon first out. We got to learn to walk slowly. Move safely. Right? I'm always concerned about safety. Get your heart rate up, right? That this, sometimes I go up the steps like this just to get it going when I have a lot of Zooming in one day. But get your heart rate up, because that means your blood's flowing. And ask your friend to join you. Right? Don't do it alone. If you have a friend that's, right in your vicinity, do it together. It's so much more fun. But check with your doctor before you start. All right, that's, you want to make sure that your cardiovascular system is healthy enough for things like walking. So that, really is the first step, and then decide what you like to do. Physical health again, what we can do. These are things you all have control over. It's called stop smoking if you are a smoker. Avoid excess alcohol. Get adequate sleep. Manage stress. Try to avoid head injury. Treat depression. It's not something to ignore. If you have depression for, or someone has it for a long period of time, this needs to see a doctor, and, make sure you find one that does treat depression, and visit your doctor regularly. It's real important, and especially as we get older, to have all of our vital signs checked and our heart rate checked, and overall, physical health, to make sure that everything is good. So don't put it off, visit your doctor regularly. What we can do, well, we want to monitor the numbers and, of course, take action if there's something not right. So your blood pressure, the book blood pressure 120/80 is a book blood pressure. Everyone has one that's normal for them. Gets too high or gets too low is something that your physician would need to look into. Blood sugar, right? We don't want that high blood sugar, and a lot of things affect blood sugar, and it definitely affects when they take it. Have you just had a hot fudge sundae? Or, do you eat a lot of foods that have sugar, or sugar that breaks down? These are things you really will know. And if your blood sugar is high, these are things, that, you should really talk about, and reduce how much blood sugar. And, it's not easy as one who loves chocolate, but, you want to try and reduce that. And cholesterol. Why do we want to reduce cholesterol? Anybody? Well, it's because cholesterol is what builds up in your heart vessels, and it's called plaque. And while a vessel may be like, have this much in, opening, as the plaque builds, gets closed more and more and more. And what happens when a vessel closes? The blood with the oxygen cannot get through it. So, cholesterol is something that is watched, because we don't want that to happen. Next. So, diet and nutrition, what we know. Well, we do know what's good for the heart is good for the brain, with a given. Nutritious food is fuel for the brain, right? So we want it to have some nutrition. We want to follow some dietary guidelines that can reduce your risk of heart disease, cancer, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's disease, stroke, and diabetes. And if you're not aware of the guidelines, this is where you need to see a dietitian or a nutritionist, because someone needs to guide you on what's right to take, what's wrong, and what you shouldn't take together. So, this is, got the hiccups now.
Debbie, do you want me to continue while you take a break?
Oh, I'm good. Those
Okay.
those hiccups.
Okay.
I think I gulp too much air when I talk.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
So again, nutritious food is fuel for the brain. You know what we say? Eat a rainbow.
Right.
Think about a rainbow, right? Fruits and vegetables, they have beautiful colors. You want to not just focus on one color, you want to eat the rainbow. And that's the best advice. And so when you go shopping, remember that. Don't get all one color. Don't get, no color. Eat that rainbow. And you think about your fruit, your vegetables, your peppers, your different color on the fruits. That's a rainbow. And it helps so many things, it's wonderful to be able to do that, And finally, cognitive activity.
Foods that have been shown to lead to healthy aging would be fruits and vegetables, and in particular green leafy vegetables and berries, as well as limited intake of high-fat food items that you get through high-fat dairy and cheese and red meats, and also healthy vegetable oils. So this would be, olive oil would be a good example, have been shown to reduce your risk of heart disease as well as dementia.
So the good stuff to eat and the things to avoid. So it's good to eat vegetables and fruits and nuts and beans and whole grains. It's good to eat lean meats, ones that don't have all that fat running through it. Good to eat fish and poultry and vegetable oils. And those are the good things. The things we really all should be avoiding is saturated fats, processed foods, solid fat, sugar, and salt, deep fried food, and those unhealthy fast foods. When we're in a hurry and everybody wants to eat, and we pull into a fast food. It's quick, it's easy, but it's not necessarily nutritionist. Although I have seen them advertise more food that is healthier. So I guess they've heard the lecture. So what can we do? We can consult reputable sources about dietary supplements and vitamins. Just because somebody said it's good, it doesn't have to be good. Your reputable sources would be a combination of your pharmacist, your physician, and in many cases, if it has to do with dementia and Alzheimer's, certainly contact the Alzheimer's Association. The World Health Organization has concluded that vitamins and supplements should not be recommended to reduce the risk of cognitive decline and dementia. All right, and work with your doctor. And I don't know about you, but I'm always hearing or reading about this supplement, and you take this supplement and it's going to help get rid of your cognitive decline. Most of those are food supplements, and they're not recommended by DEA or Alzheimer's Association. And always work with your doctor. Cognitive activity. What does that mean? We want to keep our mind active. By keeping it active, we form new connections among brain cells. Use it or lose it. It's for your brain cells as well. So you want to keep it busy. You want to color, draw, do puzzles, read, take a class. Anything that keeps your brain going, that makes you have to think. All right. So, it really, when you do that, your blood is flowing to the brain, your blood vessels are maintaining the fact that they're clear, and so important. Now, mentally stimulating activities may possibly maintain or even improve cognition. Right now, you're like, wait a minute, I thought it didn't. Well, some activities actually do improve your cognition, or makes it won't get worse right now. And I can tell you from experience that before the pandemic, I was in a daycare for people with Alzheimer's and dementia, and one particular person, he didn't want to do it. He couldn't. They said he would come in very pleasant, but sit. And we would do different games for cognitive activities. And we had one that was kind of like a beanbag. You had to throw it in a hole to make, they were numbered. We had a couple similar to that. In the beginning, he didn't even know how to hold the beanbag. And, we did it, hand over hand approach, and we did it with him for a while. And before the pandemic came in, he could take that and throw it and even sometimes get it in the hole. So, it was something that was relearned by doing it over and over and over again. And, it did definitely stimulated his brain and definitely improved his cognition. His wife was amazed that he could do that. So it does work. And finally, engaging in formal education will keep your brain healthy and can provide protection against developing dementia. And by, even this is formal education. It doesn't have to be take a 3-credit class. There's a lot of courses for seniors that you can take that you don't have to have a grade. You take it for the information, and it really does help to either keep those connections, stimulate those connections to work again. And formal education, can be good for some people.
One of the most interesting factors is cognitive stimulating activities, which basically for us just means mental processing of information. It can be from a book, it can be from the radio, it can be a magazine, it can be from a lecture, it can actually be from watching TV. All of these things require processing information. And the old adage of, use it or lose it is actually something that turns out, at least from the observational data, to look like it's true. So numerous studies now have shown that being more engaged in cognitively stimulating activities is actually good for maintaining cognition. And it's true in late life, and it's true in early life. And so what we recommend is that you start early, and if you're already late, start now.
Right? Never too late to start. So for cognitive activity, what can we do? We can read books and articles that challenge and inspire you. And we have one memory cafe that I participate with. There's probably others that what they do is every month they decide on a book to read, and then it's discussed among everybody. And that's one thing that improves cognitive activity. Complete puzzles and play games that are challenging for you, and challenging. We used to do that. I'll just tell you a quick story. And we would take out a game, from years ago, and oh yeah, I remember that game. And then everyone sitting down, nobody quite remembered the rules. So everyone remembered a different set of rules. And that was challenging to agree on a set of rules, which sometimes we just modified. But that definitely was challenging. Some other things to do, learn some new skills or hobbies, things that maybe you've always wanted to do, really never did, and now's the time. whether it's painting or gardening, working outside on hobbies, cars, something you always wanted to do, and now you have time to do it. And of course, engage in ongoing learning. It's always good to learn it, have discussions, and, learning's good. Social engagement, so our last of our four. Social engagement is associated with living longer with fewer disabilities. Staying engaged in the community offers you an opportunity to maintain your skills, such as with volunteering. There are so many opportunities to be a volunteer out there, and that's certainly a way of staying engaged for, a longer period of time and remaining both socially and mentally active. We have found that may support brain health and possibly delay the onset of dementia. Okay, so what can we do? We can visit with friends and family, set up a time. Let's have some coffee at 3 o'clock or whatever time is good. Engage with others, talk with others. There's so many senior centers or gyms or Wise, there are a lot of different places that you can go and, talk with each other, engage in activities, and besides the fact that you'll have fun, it'll be good for you. And volunteer outside the home. It's a great feeling to volunteer. Again, there's such a great need out there for volunteers, and pick something you think you'd like to do and find out how to volunteer with it. And join a group, join a club, whatever your interests are. This is a time to look and see if there's a group for it. So let's put all four pieces together, because remember, one alone or two alone isn't going to help a lot. You need all four of the pieces for healthy living. So take care of your health, get moving, eat right, keep your mind active, and stay connected with others. That's so important to put these four things together. So take care of your health, get moving, eat right, eat that rainbow, keep your mind active, stay connected with others. Right? Do it all together. Make your plan. What do you do now? What do you want to accomplish in a month, in 6 months? Make that plan and then try and follow it.
Recently, at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference, there was a study reported of the results of a large clinical trial that was done in the Scandinavian countries. And in this trial, they took half the people in the trial and they adjusted their exercise level, their diet, their social engagement, and their mental stimulation. They developed programs for each one of those variables, changed all of those for the people that were in the test group, and the control group just lived as they had been. There is a tremendous benefit to doing studies where we make changes and observe after the fact. That's a much stronger study than just observing people and trying to make judgments after life has changed for them. To my mind, one of the things that this has done is it's changed the force of recommendation that we might make around the benefit of these interventions for prevention of Alzheimer's disease or for brain health. And the fact is that I think it's moved it from possibly exercise, diet adjustments, social engagement, mental stimulation are useful to probably. And that's a big change and makes it easier for people to make those kinds of adjustments for the benefit of their future health.
Couldn't say it better myself. So begin today. Right, don't put it off till tomorrow, next week. No, 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 no. Make your plan tonight and then begin. Start small and build. Again, don't go running that marathon first time out. Start small, build upon that. Do what you enjoy. It's much more fun if you enjoy doing something than I gotta, no, do what you enjoy, stick with it. Make healthy choices on everything, on your diet, on your exercise, what kind of mental stimulation you want to do. Get support from others. Tell them what you're doing, cheer you on. And most of all, have fun. This could be a fun time. We do it with other people, meet other people as you're doing your thing, and just go with it, roll with it, and enjoy it. Be a savvy consumer. If it's too good to be true, it's probably not true, right? How many times have we heard that? Be cautious when you hear huge promises or reports of miracle cures. And what we mean by that, when you hear on TV, the radio, read it, you take this and in 30 days, you're going to be completely cured. Looks good. Be cautious. All right. Do thorough research. Again, talk to your pharmacists, talk to your physicians. If it has to do with dementia and Alzheimer's, call the 800 number and, they'll connect you with somebody to speak to. That's the important thing. There's no promises in this world, So, when you hear that, when I hear that, I'm like, you can't promise something that probably won't work unless it works here. Next. So we have our 24/7 helpline. That is 800-272-3900. It's a 24/7 helpline. Someone will answer that phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every single day, day or night. A lot of times we're laying at night and thinking about so many different things. If you have something that really is keeping you up, call the number, talk to them. If it's something that has to be researched or found, or, you're looking for a reference, someplace to go, call them. Don't not sleep. That's what they're there for. So you can sleep and they can find the information, and they find it using your zip code and, looking in the areas around your zip code. People that man that number are helpline specialists and master's level clinicians, and they offer confidential support and information. It's bilingual. There are over 200 languages plus the TTY service, and that number is 866-403-3073. Right? It's a great resource. Have it by your phone. Have it everywhere. Program it into your phone. It's the 24/7 helpline. And virtual programs. There are free online e-learning available at www.alz.org. And, some of these you've had yourselves, the 10 warning signs, understanding Alzheimer's and dementia conversations, communication strategies, talk about finances, understanding and responding to dementia-related behaviors. Yes, my favorite, and more. Right. And our community resource finder, if you are doing it online, you're going to do your www dot, and then Community Resource Finder, all one word, .org. And by using this link, you can look up programs and services, and how do you find someone to care for your loved one at home, medical services, housing options, and of course, the different community services from Wheels on Meals to, care. So lots of information you can find on this Community Resource Finder. All right, ALZ Connected, again, www, and then all one word, ALZ Connected, one word, .org. And what ALZ Connected is a free online community for everyone affected by Alzheimer's or another dementia. So it has to do with online communities and other services for people affected by dementia. And it can be people living with the disease. Caregivers need support, and we provide that. Family members and friends need support or have questions to answer. And of course, individuals who have lost someone to Alzheimer's and really do need to talk with someone. So you can find lots of information on this site. And our ALZ Navigator, it's a free, everything is free, online tool that helps guide caregivers to answers by creating a personalized action plan. And that's what it's all about, is, all right, there you are. You're the center of everything. You want to find information. You want to have a support system. And in this ALZ Navigator, you can look up things on what you need to do to work with your doctor. You could look up a lot of things on safety, legal planning, and now I can't read the little words, financial planning, driving, caregiver support, and anything to do with daily eating. Lots of information that's there for you to use, find. When you can't find anything, call the 800 number. Now, my favorite part, questions.